A clean green screen key starts with the lighting, not the software. If the screen is lit evenly at the right exposure and the subject is properly separated from it, your key will be fast, clean, and hold up under any grade. Here's how I lit a green screen on set, and how you can do it with a simple lighting package. There are two things to get right. One, the green screen has to be lit evenly at the correct exposure. I aim for about 45 IRE. That puts the screen roughly one stop under skin tone. Two, the subject has to be exposed slightly hotter than the screen. Midtones on skin or any other reflective surfaces tend to land around 50 to 55 IRE. The highlights tend to be around 70 IRE for a natural look. Those numbers can shift depending on the scene you're cutting the subject into and the quality of the subject itself. That said, that's generally the baseline. We're shooting a product shot of a Rain 1200B. Its surface is mostly matte black, with some light gray aluminum. To match the sunset world we're going to drop in the background, the foreground lighting has to mimic what's happening in the frame. In this case, it will be about filling in the shadow and creating an effect that feels like it's outdoor with bright, warm highlights on the rear edge to match the sunset. Given the nature of the product, a 45 IRE placement of the green screen is about right. Essentially, the green screen will be sitting between the two main tones of the subject. It will be brighter than the dark housing of the light, but darker than the warm highlights on the edge of the product. For the screen itself, you want soft light that still has some directionality to it. That's where the ZipTile 200B comes in. With the softbox attachment, you get a soft, even source you can actually aim. Place your lights so the beam overlaps across the screen from both sides. A pair of tube lights above and below can help blend the middle and keeps the center from going dim. The edges of the screen that closest to the fixture might read a touch brighter. That's normal. Your job is to minimize that and make sure it's as even as possible. Next up, pull up a waveform monitor and look at the green screen in real time. You want the trace across the screen to be as flat and as thin as you can get it. The flatter the line, the better your key software will handle it. Adjust the position and intensity of each ZipTile until the line sits straight across the monitor at around 45 IRE. You can light either part of the sets first. Some people like to light the foreground based on the intensity of the screen, and some like to set the green screen based on the intensity of the subject. With the fine control that LED lights give you, this is easy and quick to achieve, whichever method you prefer. If you don't have a waveform, a light meter works. Walk across the screen and take readings. Anything within a half stop of your target f-stop is usable. The closer the reading values are, the better. Note that sometimes a lens might introduce a slight natural vignetting. So if the waveform appears to be frowning in the corners due to a vignette, that's okay. So long as the band representing the green is relatively thin, you can still make it work in post. Once the screen is flat, turn your attention to the subject. Think about your exposure in terms of the final shot. If the subject is going into a bright, high-key scene, key them up and keep the screen about a stop under. That gives you luminous separation. If the subject is going into a darker, low-key world, you can flip it. Let the screen sit a stop brighter than the subject, so there's still tonal separation for the keyer to do its job. Try to stay within plus or minus one stop of the key. Beyond that, you start fighting the screen instead of working with it. One more thing before we light the subject. Step down a little on the lens. A shallower depth of field looks great for a portrait, but it's not what you want for a green screen. Soft, out-of-focus edges on your subject are harder for the keyer to resolve. You get ragged edges, fringing, and a matte that fights you. Close the aperture a stop or two will get the edges of your subject sharp and well-defined. The single most important thing you can do is create distance between the subject and the screen. Distance means fewer spill, less green light bouncing back onto your subject, as well as less spill from the subject lighting, spoiling the evenness of the green screen. This all leads to a sharper, cleaner key. For this setup, we're working with a 6x9 foot screen. Normally, you would hang this one vertically for a standing person, but we're shooting a product in 16x9, so we're hanging it horizontally. That makes the effective size as big as possible for the frame, and let us push the subject further off the screen for better separation. Here's the setup. So we're using a total of 4 lights to light the green screen evenly. We have a ZipTile 200B, Another ZipTile 200B both set to 5600 Kelvin, 100% brightness, and they're doing the bulk of the work. And on top of us, we have a BD45R, another BD45R set to 5600. They're basically blending in with the ZipTile and lighting the green screen evenly, so preventing the center from going dim. For our scene, we're matching the light into a plate of a futuristic city at time of sunset. Warm sunlight low in the sky, backlighting the subject. Soft warm haze overhead with a touch of blue still in the upper atmosphere. There are a total of 3 lights on the subject. The key is the AIO 1200B with a 3x optical intensifier set to 4000 Kelvin, shooting up into an overhead diffusion. Bouncing through that silk give us a broad, soft top light that reads like the warm sunset sky mixing with what's left of the blue. From field is a single ZipTile 200B at 4600 Kelvin, a touch cooler than the key, just enough to open up the shadows without flattening the contrast. And for the sun itself, we're using the FH400C with an ellipsoidal adapter, dialed to a warm reddish orange, running at 100% power, positioned to mimic the angle of the sunlight in the plate. That ellipsoidal gives us a hard, controllable beam. It reads as direct sunlight on the subject, which helps sell a comp like this. Again, because the highlights on the product will be bright, and the natural color of the product is dark, we will go with the green screen being one stop under the normal level key. This way, the darker part of the product will be below the 45 IRE of the green screen, and the very bright highlights on the product housing will be much brighter. This will give us separation from the green screen's intensity, and it works for both qualities of the subject, dark and bright at the same time. That's one scene, but the same screen, same lights, and the same principle can take you almost anywhere. Imagine the same subject dropped into a night city street. Sodium vapor streetlights on one side of the frame, cool mercury vapor with a slight green tint on the other. Same setup, different stories. Once you know how to light the screen flat, balancing the subject and match your subject lighting to your background plate, the possibilities really are endless. Take this on your next production, and you spend less time fixing keys in post and more time making the shot. Thank you for watching. If you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe. It will motivate us to make more content like this. See you guys on the next one.